Good evening, everyone. The title of the book that I chose to do for my book review is On Killing. Here is a picture of it. My book is on my phone because I bought it off of Apple Books. The author is Lieutenant Colonel Dave Grossman. The book was published on April the 1st, 2014. It was first published on October 1995. And here is the cover again. Okay. The book is a comprehensive process that tells the accounts of how soldiers have learned to kill for our country. It shares how the soldiers learn to live with their experiences of killing another person. It gives you a chance to learn the cost of a soldier learning to kill in war has on their everyday life. The book lets us have an understanding of the effects combat has on soldiers in everyday life after the war is over by using the interviews of combat veterans that have experienced war over the years. I read the entire book, cover to cover, every word on every page. The second point, I liked the book On Killing. I like the book On Killing by Lieutenant Colonel Dave Grossman. I would recommend this book to others to read. This was an easy read, but it is very, very long. On Killing was a very good and interesting story that explained the experience that soldiers had during war over the years when they were faced with killing another person. The book also included interviews from soldiers from World War I, the Civil War, World War II, just about every war that has been fought. It had interviews, personal interviews from soldiers. It lets you be able to look into the experience of soldiers by sharing their stories. The thing that I liked most about the book was that it was written from the interviews of soldiers sharing their experiences during the war and how it affected them. I also like the book because it helps me understand what my husband truly faced as a soldier when he was in combat and the effects war had on him on a deeper level. The book explains the effects in a way that helps you understand what soldiers face in every day in their lives. Another thing that stood out to me was that the author took the time to explain in detail about the war and the acts of the wars that are done in the midst of war and the effect that it has right away and the long-term effects that war has on the soldier. The author also explained after he would share the interviews, he would break down what the soldiers were talking about and explain what happened in each war and what effects it would have on the soldiers during the war. It would also share the effects that it would have right after the war and further on down the line, like years after the war was over. So it was really interesting to see not only his viewpoint, but the viewpoint of the soldiers as well that help break it down further. I built my lesson plan around the effects that war takes on soldiers. In the accounts that the soldiers shared with Lieutenant Colonel Dave Grossman, when Lieutenant Colonel Dave Grossman interviewed them on how war affected them during and after war. I used the theme, the effects of war, for my lesson plan to help the students gain a deeper understanding on how war affects soldiers' lives every day. The students will take a deeper look at the effects by using an anchor chart that we will use to list the different effects that they believe to affect a soldier. The students will come together in a whole group where we will use an anchor chart to list the different effects that each small group listed. The anchor chart will provide a visual aid for the students to refer back to when working on the effects of war assignment. Now, when the students complete the anchor chart that they are working on in small group, we will discuss the effects that we have listed in the whole group as a class. We will go down the anchor chart to each effect that we've listed on the anchor chart, and we will discuss what it means to us, and we'll see if we cannot find evidence in the book to go along with that. This will help students have a deeper understanding about the effects of war. The student will then break up into their small groups, which will be groups of 4. They will work on listing and writing about 2 effects of war that soldiers face during and after war. Students will pick 2 effects from the book, and I will have them to break that down and explain them in detail. Students will then teach the class about the 2 effects that they described and explained and why they believe it affects the soldier. This lesson will help students have a deeper level of understanding on war and the effects that it has on our soldiers during and after the war.